Good morning students, welcome back. This video is for the students of class 8, subject English. And in today's video, we are going to cover one chapter of our PC Wren's grammar book. This is our chapter number 24 and the name of the chapter is Transformation of Sentences. This is my lecture number 1 for the same chapter. This chapter is taken from PC Wren's grammar book. Students, we shall cover this chapter in 2 lectures. Topics to be covered in today's lecture are: definition of transformation of sentences will be explained. Then sentences containing the adverb to will be explained along with rules and examples. Then ways of expressing a condition will be explained along with different methods and examples. Then interchange of degree of comparison will be explained along with rules and examples. Then interchange of active and passive voice will be explained in brief along with examples. Then interchange of exclamatory sentences to assertive sentences will be explained along with examples and rules. At last, homework will be assigned. There are various ways of saying the same thing, yet we have to follow certain rules of grammar in order to maintain accuracy and clarity in what we wish to convey. The transformation of a sentence means changing its form without altering its sense, without changing its sense. What do you mean by transformation of sentences? Transformation of a sentence means changing its form without altering its sense. Knowledge of sentence transformation helps us to expand our usage skills by testing various ways of presenting a sentence in multiple ways but without changing its actual meaning. Or in simple way we can say that to transform a sentence is to change the form of a sentence without changing the meaning. So let's begin. Transformation of sentences containing the adverb to or to means if a sentence is containing both the adverbs to and to, then how we will transform that particular sentence. For that there are certain rules. So let us see all the rules. Rule number 1, use that in place of to. Rule number 2, use so in place of to. Rule number 3, if the sentence is in past tense, could is used in the subordinate clause. If the sentence is in present tense, then can is used in the subordinate clause. So the structure will be, when you will transform that particular sentence, the structure will be subject plus verb plus so plus rest of the words plus that plus pronoun. Pronoun will change as per the subject of the sentence plus cannot or could not or couldn't plus rest of the words. See students, this structure can be changed as per the sense of the sentence sometime. Basically, we are following the same structure. Now let us see a few examples to clarify it. If you are getting a simple sentence, for example, the girl was too clever to be taught. As you can see, this sentence has just one clause and therefore it is a simple sentence. The number of clauses in a sentence is equal to the number of finite verbs. Fine. So when you will convert this sentence, when you will transform this sentence into complex sentence as per rule, the sentence will be the girl was so clever that she could not be taught. So what we have did, we have replaced to with so and to with that, and as per structure we have written the sentence. Same with other examples also. Next is, he is too poor to give money. So the sentence will be, he is so poor that he cannot give money. As it is a present tense, that's why we have used cannot. Number 3, it is never too late to mend. If you are getting infinitive at the end, so what you have to do, let's see. It is never so late that it cannot be mended. So you have to use be plus third form of the verb. If you are getting to infinitive at the end of the sentence, then the structure will be little bit changed. Number 4th sentence is, this fact is too evident to require proof. So the sentence will be, this fact is so evident that it does not require proof. So sometimes the structure of the sentence is also changed as per the sense of the sentence. Basically we are using the particular structure, but sometimes it is changed, as I have shown in examples. Now we shall learn to transform sentences that expresses a condition. What does condition mean, or what do you mean by condition? Condition means that one thing is done in the sentence, then it depends upon or on something else happening or that will happen in the future in order for to get done. Basically, verb forms and conditions that we have already done. I have already explained you. This is your chapter number 6. So, conditional sentences have two parts, that if clause and the main clause. If you phone him is the if clause and he will come the main clause. So the meaning of conditionals depends on the verb forms, which have several different patterns. There are mainly 4 types of conditions, that is type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3, that I have already explained you. So now let's have a look to understand how we can transform a sentence expressing a condition. So first of all, let us see an example. If you work hard, comma, you will pass. So this sentence is expressing a condition. What is the condition? If you work hard. So it is describing the condition that needs to be satisfied or done in order for the other part of the sentence to happen, which is you will pass. So what does if mean? It basically means on the condition or that provided. Provided means here something else will take place, or assuming that thing is true or satisfied. We can also use unless as well in place of if to show condition. So what does unless mean? So unless means something similar to if, not or except if. So here unless is showing us a negative sense. Both if and unless are used to introduce conditional sentences. So now let us see more examples to clarify it. Number 2, unless you work hard, comma, you will not pass. So as you can see that the first sentence, if you work hard, comma, you will pass. Here it is showing condition, if is showing here condition. So same sentence I have converted with the help of word unless here, right? So now let us see one more example. You will feel cold unless you wear a sweater. Fine. So what happened? What will happen? What is the condition here? Unless you wear a sweater. Otherwise, what will happen? That you will feel cold. So your feeling cold relies on you not wearing the sweater. So here the condition that must be satisfied is that the part where you wear a sweater. So here the word unless is used to show condition. So dear students, you have to keep one thing in your mind, that you can use if or unless in front of the sentences or clauses that is showing condition or expressing the condition that must be satisfied, and then you can either put the clause before or after that to show what will happen if that condition is satisfied. Now take a look at how we can transform a sentence that express a condition by omitting the conjunction if. In formal situations, we can use should or had plus subject plus verb instead of if in conditional sentences. Means, so what? If I have a sentence and I don't want to use the word if to express condition, in what other ways can I show that it is showing condition, that particular sentence is showing condition? I can simply replace the conjunction if with words like should, had, etc. So let us see few examples to clarify it. Should you be feeling unwell means if you are feeling unwell, comma, you may go. So here in the sentence if is replaced with should. We have basically omitted the conjunction if and replaced it with should you be feeling unwell. Now you can see clearly that should is used in the beginning of the sentence to show condition. So here whenever you have to show condition and you have to omit if and you have to use should or had, then you have to write should or had in the beginning of the sentence to show condition. And as you can see that in if clause we have used are, the form of be. So one sentence can be written in different ways. We can use if also in the same sentence, we can use unless also in the same sentence, we can use should also in the same sentence, we can use many other words in the same sentence. There are several ways to express your views, but one thing you have to keep in your mind, that to transform a sentence is to change the form of a sentence without changing the meaning. Means you will not change the meaning. So the same can be done if the sentence goes like this: should I go out in the train, comma, I should get wet. Number 3, had I been at fault, I would have confessed it. So instead of had we can use if also. Number 4, had I any money, I would give you some. So like this you can omit if and in place of if you can write down should or had to show condition. Now let's take a look at certain sentences which express a condition that can be transformed using conjunctional phrases. There are certain conjunctions and connecting words that can be used to express conditions. Such words are said to be conditional conjunctions. Or we can say conditional conjunctions are an interesting bunch. However, they are found in sentences where one clause describes something that happened or will happen. If the condition of the other clause is satisfied. Conditional conjunctions can be a single word like if, or several words, means group of words like in case. When placed at the beginning of the clause, these conjunctions describe the condition that needs to be met for something to happen. So, there is one conditional conjunction which is used in place of if. We use in case to express that we are doing something in preparation for something which might happen. So let us see a few examples to clarify it. So here we have used in case in replace of if conjunction. In case he does not behave, comma, he will be punished. Number 2, in case you don't work, comma, you will fail. Number 3, in case you allow me, comma, I shall go there. So here we have used in case conditional conjunction in place of if to show condition. So now let us have a look at the sentences that express condition and how we can transform such sentences using the imperative mode. Now there are certain sentences which in the imperative conditional form, this means that they are not only expressing a condition but part or some section of the sentence in the imperative mode. So first of all, let us see what is the meaning of imperative mode. An imperative mode is the verb form that makes a command, including request, order, advice and warnings. So now let us see a few examples to clarify this. Number 1, if you work hard, comma, you will pass. So here if you work hard, it is showing us condition, right? So when we have to transform this in imperative mode, then how we will transform? We have to remove if you from the sentence and then we have to pick the main verb, that is work hard. Then we have to write down the main verb in the beginning of the sentence and then we have to join the main verb along with the rest of the clause with the help of coordinating conjunction. So work hard and you will pass. So this will be your conditional, imperative conditional form. Let us see one more example. Neglect your work and you will fail. So here we have removed if you to make imperative conditional form. So here work hard, neglect your work. So this is showing us an imperative mode. What if you want to transform a sentence in different way? So you can use preposition but followed by a phrase that acts as the object, or you can say that when we use condition in a sentence, we use but for and then write the phrase or word which is the object of the sentence, or but for we are writing in the beginning of the sentence by replacing if clause followed by the noun of that particular sentence. So let us see a few examples to clarify it. For example, if it were not for the weather, we would join you. So when we have to transform this sentence with the help of preposition but for, then what is the rule? That in the beginning, first of all, we will write down but for in replace of if clause, right? And then we have to write down noun. So what is noun in this if clause sentence? The weather. So how we will write down? But for the weather, comma, we would join you. So the next part remains the same. Let us see one more example. If it had not been for the rain, comma, we would have gone for a walk. So when we have to replace it with the preposition but for to show the condition, so how we will change? First of all, we will write down but for in replace of if clause. Then we have to write down the noun. Fine. So what is the noun? Noun is that the rain. So but for the rain, comma, we would have gone for the walk, for a walk, right? So here what we have did, we have just used the preposition but followed by a phrase as the object of the sentence to show the condition. So now let us look how we can change conditional sentences or sentences that express a condition using participial phrases. What exactly are participial phrases? These sentences are expressing either the present participial form of the verb, which means ing form of the verb, or they can have past participial form of the verb, that is en or ed. Or in simple way we can say that a participial phrase is a group of words consisting of a participle and the modifiers or modifier, and or pronouns, nouns or noun phrases that functions as the direct objects or object, comma, indirect objects or object, or complements or complement of the action or state expressed in the participle, right? So here we have to change the sentence into participial phrase. So let us see an example for that. If you do this carefully, comma, it will give right result. So here we have condition, if you do this carefully. So carefully is here an adverb, fine, and here if you do this carefully showing condition. So how I can change the sentence using participial phrase? Participle might have present or past form. So here we need to search for the verb first of all in the sentence. So what is the verb here? Do. Since I have do in the present, so I will use present participle form of the verb to make or to transform into participial phrase, this complete if clause. So how I will write? Doing, do plus ing, doing, or I can write down done also. Then I will pick adverb carefully, comma, it will give right result. So like this you have to change conditional sentence using participial phrase. Remember one thing, we can use supposing in conditional construction or conditional sentence. We use supposing when we want something to imagine something is true or to imagine a particular thing that will happen. For example, suppose it were true, comma, how we should laugh. So in place of suppose we can use if clause also. Now let us see a few examples of past participles. Number 1, provided that you allow me, I shall speak to him. So instead of provided that we can use if also. But if we want to change the conditional sentences using participial phrase, so we have used provided that. Number 2, provided that I do not go out in rain, comma, I don't get wet. So this all were about transformation of sentences. In that case, when we are expressing, means when the sentence express a condition using different methods. So now let us see certain rules to interchange the degrees of comparison. Now let us see rules of transformation of degrees, that is positive, comparative or superlative. So rule number 1 is, if you are getting structure in positive degree like this, no other plus object or extension plus is, was plus so or as plus positive form plus as plus subject. If you are getting structure in comparative degree like this, subject plus ism, are, was, were plus comparative form plus then any other plus object or extension. In superlative degree, if you are getting structure like this, subject plus am, is, are, was, were plus the plus superlative form plus object or extension. So how you have to convert the sentences in different degrees? So let us see few examples. Number 1, in your positive degree, no other girl in the class is as good as Ruby. So this sentence will be converted in comparative degree like this, Ruby is better than any other girl in the class. And the same sentence will be converted in superlative degree like this, Ruby is the best girl in the class. So you have to follow the structure. As per the structure, you have to convert the sentences in degree. So let us see one more example. No other man in the village was as so wise as he. So when you will convert into comparative degree, the same sentence will be he was wiser than any other man in the village. And in superlative degree, the sentence will be he was the wisest man in the village. So you have to use the forms of degree, and then you have to use the structure. As per the structure, you have to change the sentences. Now let us see rule number 2. If you are getting structure like this in your positive degree, no other plus object or extension plus is, was, verb plus so or as plus positive form plus as plus subject. So how to convert in comparative or superlative degree? Let's see. First of all, let us see example. No other wood burns so or as pretty as it. So when you will convert it into comparative degree, your structure will be subject plus is, are, was, were plus comparative form plus then any other plus object. So the sentence will be it burns prettier than any other wood. When you will convert it into superlative degree, so the structure will be subject plus is, are, was, were plus the plus superlative degree form plus of any plus object. So the sentence will be it burns the prettiest of any wood. So by following the structures, you have to convert, you have to transform the sentences as per degrees of comparison. Now let us see rule number 3. If you are getting structure in positive degree like this, very few plus object or extension or plural noun plus are, were plus so or as plus positive form plus as plus subject. So when you will convert it into comparative and superlative degree, so the structure will be different. So first of all, let us see an example of positive form. Very few cities in Bangladesh are as big as Dhaka. So when you will convert it into comparative degree, the structure will be subject plus is, are, was, were plus comparative form plus then most other plus object or extension or plural noun. So the sentence will be Dhaka is bigger than most other cities in Bangladesh. So when you will convert it into superlative degree, so the structure will be subject plus is, are, was, were plus one of the plus superlative form plus object or extension, that is plural noun if it is there. So the sentence will be Dhaka is one of the biggest cities in Bangladesh. Now let us see rule number 4. If you are getting structure in positive degree like this, object plus verb plus not plus so or as plus positive form plus as plus subject, then when you will convert it into comparative degree, the structure will be different. So first of all, let us see an example of positive degree. Rana is not so wise as Hassan. So when you will convert it into comparative degree, the structure will be subject plus verb plus comparative form plus then plus object. So the sentence will be Hassan is wiser than Rana. So according to these rules, you have to convert, you have to transform the sentences of degree of comparison, degrees of comparison you can say, means you have to interchange of the degrees of comparison as per the rules or structures. So now let us see how to interchange exclamatory sentences into assertive sentences. So first of all, let me clear you what is the meaning of exclamatory sentence. An exclamatory sentence is a sentence that expresses sudden and strong feelings such as surprise, wonder, pity, sympathy, happiness or gratitude, etc. So there are certain interjections which show strong feelings or emotions such as hooray, ouch, wow, hey, alas, etc. What is the meaning of assertive sentence? An assertive sentence is a sentence that states a fact. Such sentences are simple sentences. They state, assert or declare something. So there are certain rules to interchange exclamatory sentences to assertive sentences. Rule number 1 is, if we find the word alas in exclamatory sentence, we will write it is a matter of sorry, regret that, or we mourn that instead of that word alas. After that, we will write the rest part of exclamatory sentence. Finally, we will place full stop instead of exclamation sign. So, the structure will be alas, then part, whatever the part is there, it is matter of regret that, or we mourn that. So now let us see few examples to clarify it. Let us see how to change exclamatory sentences into assertive sentences. Alas, exclamation sign, Ranjit failed in the examination. So when we will convert it into assertive sentence, so the sentence will be, it is a matter of sorry that Ranjit failed in the examination. Now let us see another example to clarify it. Alas, exclamation sign, your grandfather has died today. So the sentence will be, it is matter of regret that your grandfather has died today. Now let us see rule number 2. In order to change an exclamatory sentence into the assertive without changing its meaning, we have to remove the exclamation mark. Removal of exclamatory word or words. So the final structure will be subject plus helping verb plus adverb. It is optional. According to sense of the sentence, you have to add adverb plus object if it is there plus full stop at the end. So now let us see few examples to clarify it. What a happy day this is! Exclamation sign. So when we will convert it into assertive sentence, so the sentence will be, this is a very happy day. As you can see that this subject is here verb plus we have added adverb very plus happy day, rest of the part. Now let us see one more example. Oh no, the coin has rolled into the river. So here oh no word is showing us exclamation, strong feeling. Fine, sorrow. So when we will change it into assertive sentence, so the sentence will be, the coin has rolled into the river. At last, full stop. Means we have to remove exclamation word, interjection words which are showing us strong feeling, and we have to remove exclamation mark also, sign also. Instead of that, we have to put full stop to make assertive sentence, declarative sentence, simple sentence. Now let us see one more example to clarify. What a privilege it is to work with this great man. At last, exclamation sign. So when we will convert it into assertive sentence, so the sentence will be, it is a privilege to work with this great man. So you have to follow the structure and then you have to convert exclamatory sentences into assertive sentences. It is very easy. So now let us see how to interchange active voice into passive voice. As I have already explained you this topic in detail. So for that you can watch videos of chapter number 13. Here in this video, I'm not going to explain this complete topic. I will just only summarize you the definitions in brief. What is active voice? A verb is in the active voice when its form shows that the person or thing denoted by the subject does something, or in other words is the doer of the action. The active voice is so called because the person denoted by the subject acts. Or in simple way we can say that a sentence has a subject that acts upon its verb is called active voice. What is passive voice? A verb is in the passive voice when its form shows that something is done to the person or thing denoted by the subject. The passive voice is so called because the person or thing denoted by the subject is not active but passive, that is, suffers or receives some action. So let's see how many kinds of voice are there. Number 1, active voice. Number 2, passive voice. So there are two kind of voice, active voice and passive voice. So now let's see what is the difference between in definition of active voice and passive voice. Active voice means what subject does. Passive voice means the focus is on the action or the action. So here in simple way the meaning of active voice is a sentence has a subject that acts upon its verb. And the meaning of passive voice in simple way is a subject is a recipient of a verb's action. Recipient means who receives an action. To clarify it, let's see some example. Active voice. Ram killed Ravan. So here Ram is subject and it is performing an action. And killed is here verb, or we can say it is an action. And Ravan, it is an object. Object means who receives an action. When we will change the same sentence in passive voice, the sentence will be Ravan was killed by Ram. So here as you can see that the subject of the active voice will become the object of the passive voice. The object of the active voice will become the subject of the passive voice. So here Ravan is receiving an action. So this is the difference between active voice and passive voice. So now let's see how to change active into passive voice. Active voice means to emphasize on the doer or performer, means that is subject. To clarify it, let's see an example. The dog chased the cat. So here the dog is subject, chased is verb, and the cat is an object. Subject means who does some action, and verb means an action. Object means who receives action done by the subject. So here we are emphasizing on the doer or performer, that is the dog. Passive voice means to emphasize on the result or receiver, or we can say when the subject of the verb receives the action, the verb is said to be passive voice. To clarify it, let's see an example. The cat was chased by the dog. So here the cat is subject, was chased is verb phrase, by is agent or preposition, the dog is an object. So as we can see that when we are changing active into passive voice, the first rule is the subject will become the object. The first rule is the subject will become the object and the object will become the subject in the passive voice, and the verb will change according to the tense. But you have to keep one thing in your mind: when the subject will become the object in the passive voice, so before the object in the passive voice we add the preposition by, or we can say that passive voice means when the subject of a verb receives the action, that is called passive voice, or the subject of the active voice becomes the object of the passive voice and the object of the active voice becomes the subject of the passive voice, and the verb will change according to it. and we add by the preposition before the object in passive voice. So now let's see steps to change the voice, or we can say there are some rules to change voice. Number one rule is subject of active voice becomes the object of passive voice. For example, Rama helps Hari. So here Rama is subject and Hari is object. So as according to the first rule, subject means Rama of the active voice becomes the object of the passive voice. Object is Hari here. So the passive voice will be Hari is helped by Rama. Number two rule is object of the passive voice becomes the subject of the passive voice, as I have explained you in example. Number third rule is form of be is added in passive voice. So the form of be's are number one is mr, that is present tense, was were, that is past tense, being, that is continuous tense, and been, that is perfect tense. So how this form of be will add in passive voice will be explained to you in the tense chart. Rule number 4 is by is added before the object of the passive voice. To clarify it, let's see some example. Sita loves Savitri. So Sita is subject here, loves is verb here, and Savitri is object here. So when we will convert this active into passive voice, the sentence will be Savitri is loved by Sita. So according to rule number 4, we have added by just before the object of the passive voice. Rule number 5 is past participle form of the verb is used after the form of be. Be forms are is, am, are, was, were, being, or being. So past participle, that is third form of the verb, is used after the form of the be. This will be explained to you in tense chart. Rule number 6 is tense of the verb is not changed, only its form is changed. That is, tense of the verb remains the same. Means tense will not change. Means if present simple tense is there, then it will remain present simple only. It will not change, but the verb form, that is first form of the verb, second form of the verb, or third form of the verb will change. Vague subjects like someone, somebody, everybody, everyone, or people, etc. are dropped in passive voice or passive form. Means if we get someone, somebody, everybody, these kinds of vague subjects in active voice, so when we will convert it into passive voice, these subjects will be omitted because it is understood. To clarify it, let's see some example. Active voice, someone broke the window. Here someone is subject here, broke is verb here, the window is object here. So when we will convert this sentence into passive voice, the sentence will be the window was broken. So according to rule, the object will become the subject, and here the vague subject, that is someone, will be omitted. It will be dropped in the passive voice because it is understood that someone has or someone was broken the window. So these were the rules when we will change active into passive. So now let's see how the pronouns are changed as under when we are converting it into passive to active. So as we have three persons in English, first person, second person, and third person. So the first person, when it is an active voice, it is a subject, but when it will be converted into passive voice, it becomes an object, and I will convert into me, we will convert into us, and the second person, that is you, will remain same, that is you. It will not convert into something else. The third persons are he, it will convert into him, she, it will convert into her, it will remain same, it, and The last one is they will convert into them. So this is the chart of pronouns which will convert into another pronoun in active to passive voice. When we make active voice into passive voice, or we can say when the active voice means when the subject, the pronoun performs as a subject in the active voice, and when it will convert it into passive voice and it becomes an object, at that time how it will change. So this is the chart which you have to learn by your heart. Note one thing, the main and important thing to note here is what? All main verb forms are changed to third form of verb, that is past participle. Means when we are changing active to passive voice, we are using third form of the verb. Whether it is present simple, continuous, perfect, in every tense we are using third form of the verb when we are converting active to passive. So this is the end of the lecture. Students, you have to complete your homework on the basis of the chapter explained by me, and your homework is revise chapter 25, that is transformation of sentences, from the book or video, and based on the understanding of the topic, do exercises mentioned in the book PC Wren's Grammar as exercise number 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 11 and 12, that is on page numbers 132 to 140. These exercises you have to do in your English Fair notebook. Now let us see exercise number 1. Question is, rewrite the following sentences by doing away with the adverb to. Means in these sentences you have to remove adverb to, and according to rule then you have to transform the sentences. Now let us see exercise number 2. Question is, rewrite each of the following sentences in as many different ways as you can. Now let us see exercise number 4. Question is, change the degree of comparison without changing the meaning. Now let us see exercise number 5. Question is, change the following sentences into the passive form. Now let us see exercise number 6. Question is, change the following sentences into the active form. Now let us see exercise number 11. Question is, transform the following exclamatory sentences into assertions, means simple sentences. That's all for today. This is the end of the lecture. Students, if you like our videos, please hit on the like button and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you and have a nice day.